What's happening, guys? Welcome back. It's been a while. This bike has been sat here in the most awkward spot in my workshop for a good 3 weeks now. Getting the double R in and out has been a nightmare. Playing darts has been a nightmare. Just worst place I could have left it. But we're here now and the rebuild's getting done. So what's the plan for today? So the first thing we've got to do, thanks to Motorcycle Parts Warehouse for sending these bits out, we've got to get the oil service done. We're then going to crack on with the exhaust, which as you can see, Black Widow have sent us, which I'm really looking forward to, and I don't actually know which one we've got yet, so that'll be interesting. Once we've got those two bits done, we're getting the fairings back on, which have now all been sprayed. Did have a bit of an accident bringing them back in the van, so there's a couple of little scratches here and there, but thankfully Danny D is doing some mad graphics on it, so I'm sure he'll be able to work something out and cover those. Hell Performance have sent out the front brake to get that redone. That is turning up later on today, so I might be able to get some footage of that, I might not. We'll just have to wait and see. And then yeah, bike's going off to Danny, like I said, and he's gonna get some graphics done on it. So I'm really looking forward to this. I wanna get this rebuilt, and then I can actually get it tested, make sure we're all up and running properly, and then I can book a track day. Voiceover time when I'm sticking the music on, let's get it.
And there we go. So first things first, with regards to the oil service, we're just tightening up the sump plug. It was left off last time so that it fully drained out all of the oil in the bike, because I didn't want to have anything in there when it comes to filling it up. Now, this is a track bike and it was used in racing, so it's got these little safety retaining clips that stops these bolts, if you like, coming loose during a race. And then we can get on to topping up the oil. So double check online or in your Haynes manual as to what the manufacturer's specification is in terms of how much oil is required, whether it's an oil service including a filter or without a filter. Once you've found that, double check the type of oil, whether it's 5W40 or 10W40, fill it up, and then get on to filling the bike up with the oil that's required. Then we've just got to tighten the cap back up, stick the retaining clip on, and we're good to go.
Right, so got the oil done, no problem at all, nice and straightforward. Ever's a slight slip up, but these things happen. So it's 3.1 litres of oil for the Kawasaki if you've done a filter change. Now, if it's a brand new engine, it's completely dry. I believe it's 3.3 to 3.6. Go off of these guidelines, not a problem at all. Once you've done everything you need to do and you can get the bike started, let it get up to temperature, cut the engine and look at the sight glass on the side and make sure it's smack bang in the middle between them lines. If it's too high, drain a bit. If it's too low, put a bit in, you get the score. Now, with regards to the exhaust, the only thing I'm ever so slightly concerned about is just the lack of space I've got between. Now, it's easy getting these stuff in and out because you just got to get in there, loosen it, they pop off. But with getting the exhaust in now, I've got a battle with holding the exhaust on there, keeping the weight up underneath, all that good stuff, and then tightening it up. I don't want to take the rad off because it's completely filled and I don't really want to drain it if I can avoid it, but I'm going to see how we get on. If it's too tight, then yes, the rad's got to come off, but it's not the end of the world. Just literally take these two hoses off, drain it out the bottom, pull the radiator forward because I'll take it off the bottom bracket, the fan will stay attached to the back, and then we should be good to go. But fingers crossed we don't need to. So I'm just going to put a bit of spray on these bolts on the inside, on the header bolts, ready for the nuts to go on, and that should make it a little bit easier to get them threaded. So yeah, let's crack on with it. Oh yeah, so Dr. Downpipe sent us out some bits the other day, and it's perfect because I'm going to need some of this now to put onto these studs. So that was really handy. So thank you very much, Dr. Downpipe. I really appreciate it.
So give the stud nuts a nice soak in the spray, whether it's WD-40 or an anti-corrosion barrier spray like I'm using here. Give it a good 10 to 15 minutes, really let it soak in, it'll make life a lot easier.
Now, I'm not exactly an unboxing pro, but let's see how we're looking. I reckon I'll go through unboxing all of these and I'll show you what we've got at the end. It'll probably be a lot easier.
Now, Sharky's top tip, when you get a new exhaust system out of the box, get everything laid out item by item and make sure you've got everything there before you start. The absolute last thing you want to do is go full steam ahead, get really excited about what you're about to fit, and then find out way too late into the install that you've got a part missing or something's damaged or something along them lines. So get it lined out, check you've got everything there, and then get started.
I'm actually really excited to see what this is going to look like, because I have no idea what this is. So this is going to be a surprise to me as much as it is a surprise to you. 3, 2, 1. Oh, there we go. That is nice. That is absolutely gorgeous. It's even got stamped on there, not for road use. That is nice. Let's have a little bit of a better look at that. It says not for road use. Okay, so I'm going to keep it on the styrofoam for now, just because I don't want to damage it or anything like that, of course. There is a silencer fitted in here as standard. This can be removed. There's a little bolt through the center section here, and you can take that silencer out, or the baffle out, I should say. I'm going to leave it in there for now to make sure I don't use it, but some tracks I do need it, some tracks I don't. Donington I don't on most days. Tracks like Silverstone, Snetterton, you're going to need it. Right, I think we should get on with doing these doing this exhaust then, shall we? So I thought let's do this together because this doesn't actually seem all that hard. So by the looks of things, it literally just pushes in and then you use your springs to keep it all together. So
now, even though I'm fitting this exhaust system together in hand now, do not do it like this. The best advice I could give you, which you will see further on down in this video, is to install the header pipes on the bike first and then install the conversion. If you do it like this, it's a nightmare to try and line everything up, especially when you've got the compression glands that go on the top of the header. Now, in terms of doing this exhaust, it was easy. Couple of clamps, tighten up a few bolts, bolt it all together, stick the O2 sensor on there, and that is as simple as it is. It's a really nice, easy thing to do on your bike. Now let's just have a moment of appreciation. A nice black end can, carbon tips, brand new pipes everywhere. It just looks absolutely gorgeous.
So that is the Black Widow system installed. Wasn't that bad actually. One word, a little bit of advice I would suggest. I put the headers together on the 4:2:1 link here and tried fitting them up as one. Now, if the rad was out of the way, you'd probably get away with that. But what I decided to do instead was to fit the header pipes first and then do the 4:2:1 and then go all the way through to the back. And that worked a little bit easier for me. So yeah, overall relatively easy to install. I'm really impressed with it actually. The can looks so nice. It's such a nice can. I can't wait to get this fitted together just so I can sound test this. I'll do a sound test with the baffle in and then with the baffle out, but that is a very nice looking can. Right, let's get the fairings on.
So the front mudguard on this bike, because it's got pre-fitted brackets on there to hold the brake lines and the ABS line nice and tight so it doesn't affect anything else, such as like the wheel or getting too close to the rad and melting and things like that. You've got to get the wheel out before you can put this mudguard in, which is part of the reason why I took the wheels off. But either way, still quite straightforward. 4 bolts and clip it in, happy days. Nose cone, nice and straightforward. The air intake is molded so that holds the nose in. A bolt at the front, 1 bolt either side, and that's all you need for this front. So it has the side fairings and the nose fairing all as one piece, which is a brilliant thing about track fairings. It's so easy to work with. Whip the belly pan on, couple of little half DU Z clips either side, and it holds straight into that front nose cone, which just makes life so much easier. No messing about with a load of bolts. It's just quick and easy to use, which, believe me, when you're on a track day, if anything goes wrong or you want to do some work, you need nice, quick and easy. Now, when you're doing the fuel tank, there's 2 things you've got to remember which are really important. Fuel pump, make sure it's plugged in and connected. Fuel line, make sure that's plugged in and connected. And if you have any overflows, of course, make sure they're plugged in. So technically 3 if we're going down that route. The fuel tank wasn't too difficult. I've got 2 bolts at the front which hold in the aftermarket steering damper, and it's as simple as that. Little pivot hinge bolt at the back and we're good to go. In regards to the tail fairing, you remember in the last video I had a rain light fitted in there, so I just had to make sure I got that all connected up properly. So that's all good to go. I did test it after and it all worked perfectly fine. Now the actual tail tidy section, if you like, or the rear tail section of the bike, there's 2 bolts in the side and 2 at the rear. And then you've got these little fillet panels that kind of bolt into the fuel tank, as well as the rear tail itself. You'll notice a gap between the fuel tank and the tail. Now that's not because there's anything wrong, it's just purely because the track fairings don't match up to the road section of the bike. It's just part and parcel of track fairings when you've got road parts on a road bike. The only way you can get around it is if you get a track tank and you start doing a load of custom fabrication, but let's be honest, I'm not getting paid to do this sort of stuff. It's not going to pay my mortgage, so I'm just here having fun. Screen bolted on at the front, and then we can crack on with the front wheel. Now, like I said, that front wheel has to come out for that mudguard to go in. Wheels are always a nightmare to get in on your own unless you've got a quick wheel release system like I have on the front. Unfortunately, I don't have one on the rear, but you can see here it does make it a little bit easier when you're fitting that front wheel.
Now, how's about that for timing? I've literally just had a knock at the door, and this is from Hell Performance. So, should be able to get the brakes done. Right, let's get this fitted up.
Okay, so front brake time. Perfect timing for the front brake system to turn up. Now, brake calipers go on, half tighten those bolts, tighten them down properly, and then we get on to attaching the brake line. Now, when you attach the brake line, make sure you've got your copper crush washers either side of the brake hose itself, and make sure that bolt is tight, because the last thing you want to do is have brake fluid leaking out, because I promise you that stuff is so slippy. If that catches the inside of your tyre on a turn, you will know about it very quickly. Now, when it comes to bleeding the system, conventionally when a system is all done and you've just got to bleed it, not too bad. But for anyone who is watching who has bled a completely bone dry system, will know it is the most painful process unless you can backfill it, which I don't have the syringe kit to do, or you've got a pressurized system, which I've got, but for some reason it just likes to splatter everywhere. Now, when I was saying earlier about the rear wheel, This rear wheel is not a quick wheel release setup. So you can see the chain's attached, I'm using my body, and there's many different ways as possible to try and hold the tyre up, adjust it so it's right and it's angled and it's got the hole ready to go for the spindle. Start hammering the spindle in. And for those of you looking, you will notice I made an ever so slight mistake here. And it's only in a few seconds that I come to realise what I've done. I'm like, ah, brilliant. So you'll see it doesn't quite go all the way because me being me, an idiot, I decided to leave the little washer in there, which is supposed to go on the other side. So out it came, back in it went, and then this time it's going to go in nice and smoothly. Now once you've done this, you're going to want to adjust your chain so you've got a nut and a bolt on either side of your swing arm if you've got a dual-sided swing arm bike such as this. You've got guidelines, so you want to make sure the front of the square plate is on the certain guideline and the same on the other side. Now from that point, you do the exact same amount of turns either side, and you want the chain slack to be anywhere between 35 and 45 mil is the ballpark average for most bikes. But again, check the manufacturer's spec and make sure you've got it within the tolerances.
And after many hours, we are done. So what have we done with this then? So obviously clear as day, we've got new fairings, we've got a new exhaust from Black Widow. Serviced the bike, which obviously we got those through Motorcycle Parts Warehouse. Just used a bit of contact adhesive just to put the seat and the rear padded seat, if you want to call that, on there. The shoulders are going to have to go around the tank at some point. Got a new front brake from Hell, that's all been bled up and all good to go. And that is pretty much it. The bike is all completely done now, ready for track. I've got to tighten up the front wheel. Annoyingly, the part that I need, I can't seem to find anywhere, so I'm going to borrow one off a friend. So the bike is going to have to stay here for the time being. But other than that, that is the bike completely done. I'm really happy with the colour. Danny D's going to do his bits with the graphics. But this is it for now, and then we'll get some photos up on the Instagram once we get all the graphics on there. Yeah, I really like it. I think it's a wicked looking bike. I'm very happy with it. The colours are great. I really like the colours on there. But apart from that, as always, thank you guys for watching. Get some more content coming out soon. The follow-up video from this, with exception to the CVT series, is going to be a track day prep. What do you need? What's an ideal edition? Extras? What's to be expected on a track day, and everything in between. So keep your eyes out for that. But other than that, thank you guys very much for watching. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.